Have you ever stopped to think, how on earth did the Romans build these architectural marvels without modern machinery? Think about it. Massive stone blocks, detailed domes, and arches that seem to float, all built by hand. So how did they lift, shape, and assemble these colossal structures without modern technology, and without getting crushed under the weight of their own ambition? The answers might surprise you. Step into any modern building today, and you'll see the influence of Roman architecture. Their innovative building strategies and tools have stood the test of time. We've come a long way with electricity and automation, but the Romans laid the groundwork. Their legacy extends beyond ancient ruins. It's in the foundations of our modern world. The Romans didn't miss electricity. Why? Because they had no idea what they were missing. Instead, they thrived in a world powered by sheer ingenuity, shaping history with nothing but firelight and determination. They built towering cities, engineered marvels, and conquered vast lands, all without a single spark of electricity. Perhaps they didn't just survive without it. They never even needed it. Imagine stepping onto the bustling streets of ancient Rome, surrounded by colossal structures that defied logic. The Pantheon, an architectural masterpiece, still stands today. Its massive dome, an engineering mystery even modern architects admire. But that was only the beginning. Then there was the Colosseum, a stadium so massive it could hold 50,000 roaring spectators. Picture the ground shaking beneath your feet as armored gladiators clashed in brutal combat. The tension, the spectacle, the sheer scale. How did they pull it off? And let's not forget the grand highways, bridges, and roads that connected these incredible structures. The Romans were master builders, and their legacy can still be seen today. But here's the fascinating part. They achieved all this without the luxury of electricity or modern machines. So, how did they do it? How did the Romans build these enormous cities, with their complex buildings and infrastructure, using only the tools and technology available to them? You see, in today's world of electricity and automated machines, building has become a whole lot easier. But let's take a step back in time and appreciate the sheer grit and determination of the ancient Roman builders. Without the luxury of modern machinery, they relied on good old-fashioned manual labor to get the job done. These Roman builders, they were the ultimate powerhouses. With their toned muscles and robust physiques, they could lift and carry heavy stone blocks weighing up to 50 to 60 kilograms over short distances. Studies of Roman skeletal remains have even shown that builders had higher bone density than average Romans, indicating a stronger, more robust physique. No wonder Roman engineer Vitruvius emphasized the need for strong, skilled laborers in building construction. These laborers were the driving force behind ancient Rome's construction industry, working tirelessly under the scorching sun. The teamwork? It was nothing short of remarkable. To keep projects organized, they were divided into specialized groups, each with unique skills and roles. Step onto a Roman construction site, and you'd be surrounded by a bustling workforce. Who were the masterminds behind these grand structures? Meet the Fabbri, skilled craftsmen, including carpenters, masons, and blacksmiths, whose expertise was essential to every stage of the building process. At the helm of these projects were the architecti, master builders who designed and oversaw construction. These individuals were often wealthy and influential, with a keen eye for detail and a deep understanding of the construction process. And what about the logistics? For that, there were the redemptors, contractors who specialized in specific aspects of construction. They played a crucial role in ensuring that projects were completed on time and within budget. But not everyone held prestigious roles. Who did the back-breaking labor? At the bottom of the social ladder were the manus operaia, unskilled workers, often slaves or poor freemen, who carried heavy stone blocks, dug foundations, and performed the most grueling tasks. Could you imagine working under such brutal conditions, knowing there was no escape? Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote about the construction of the Colosseum, highlighting the massive workforce involved. Can you believe that an estimated 100,000 workers labored to complete this iconic project, using simple tools like pickaxes, hammers, and chisels to quarry and shape stone blocks? To move these massive blocks into place, workers relied on ramps, pulleys, and levers. Brilliant tools built by the Romans themselves to make the construction process a little less backbreaking. We'll delve into these clever tools soon, but for now, let's appreciate the sweat and toil that went into building ancient Rome's iconic landmarks. But behind the grandeur of ancient Rome's iconic landmarks lies a hidden story, one rarely told. The laborers who shaped Rome's greatest wonders paid a price far greater than mere sweat and effort. These workers, who were the backbone of Rome's construction industry, were prone to debilitating spine problems due to the heavy loads they carried. A study published in the International Journal of Osteoarchaeology revealed that ancient Roman laborers were at risk of developing musculoskeletal disorders due to repetitive lifting, carrying, and bending. They would continuously perform repetitive tasks like hammering, chiseling, and sawing for hours on end, day after day. The physical demands were relentless, and the consequences were often catastrophic. Roman historian Suetonius wrote about the construction of the Roman Forum, noting that many laborers died from exhaustion and stress. Roman engineer Vitruvius also highlighted the brutal conditions faced by laborers, describing how they worked long hours in harsh conditions, often leading to illness and even death. The glamour of ancient Rome's architectural achievements is tempered by the harsh reality of the human cost that went into building them. A closer look at the lives of ancient Roman laborers reveals a startling truth. Many died young, typically between 25 to 45 years old. The physical toll of manual labor was immense, and it's a wonder they were able to construct such iconic landmarks. Fast forward to today, and it's clear that machines have revolutionized the construction industry. Gone are the days of massive labor forces, replaced by efficient machinery that makes building easier, faster, and safer. But let's put the strength and endurance of these Roman laborers into perspective. Their physical prowess was comparable to that of modern-day weightlifters, while their endurance rivaled that of long-distance runners or cyclists. The downsides of manual labor were stark, and it's likely that the Romans sought innovative solutions to make construction more manageable. While laborers didn't just carry heavy loads manually, they relied on simple, yet ingenious tools constructed by the Romans themselves. So, what were these tools, you ask? The Romans weren't just builders. They were master problem solvers. These tools were so advanced for their time that they almost seem like ancient secrets. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover. One of the smartest tools Roman engineers used was the ramp and inclined plane system. Instead of lifting heavy stone blocks straight up, they built sloped pathways using packed earth, wooden planks, and stone. These ramps allowed workers to push, pull, or roll massive blocks into position gradually, making construction faster and less physically demanding. This method was especially useful for building tall structures like temples, aqueducts, and the Colosseum, where heavy materials had to be transported to great heights. So imagine the scene: laborers hauling heavy loads up steep inclines, their sweat and determination fueling the construction of iconic landmarks like the Colosseum and Pantheon. The ramps and inclined planes were a game changer, reducing the physical strain on laborers and accelerating the construction process. But what sparked this innovative solution? How exactly did the Romans conceive of these ramps and inclined planes? Well, these innovative ramp systems were inspired by the ancient Egyptians. The Egyptians' construction techniques, used to build the majestic Great Pyramid of Giza, laid the groundwork for the Romans' own ramp designs. The Romans took this inspiration and ran with it, constructing a massive ramp system to build the iconic Colosseum. This marvel of engineering was built using a clever combination of earth and wood, showcasing the Romans' resourcefulness and skill. But what made these ramps truly remarkable? Roman engineer Vitruvius, a pioneer in his field, wrote extensively about the design and construction of ramps and inclined planes. He stressed the importance of careful planning, precise calculation, and meticulous attention to detail to ensure the stability and safety of these structures. The Romans were masters of minimizing friction and maximizing traction on their ramps. By using wooden beams and stone paving, they reduced the risk of accidents and structural damage. These ramps were built to withstand massive weights and stresses, a testament to the Romans' exceptional engineering prowess. We can still see the remains of these ancient Roman ramps and inclined planes today. Archaeologists have found parts of the massive ramp system used to build the Colosseum, showing how workers moved huge stone blocks into place. Excavations at old Roman quarries have also uncovered ramps that helped transport heavy stones, giving us a glimpse into the smart engineering that made Rome's greatest structures possible. And the best part, the principles of Roman ramps and inclined planes are still used in modern construction and engineering today. The next tools? They were even more fascinating. The Romans employed it to make their buildings seamless. Apparently, these Romans also employed the use of pulleys and winches to do the work. The Romans used simple pulleys to lift heavy loads by changing the direction of force. These pulleys consisted of a wheel with a grooved rim and a rope or cable wrapped around it, making it much easier to move large stones and materials. This simple yet effective system allowed them to build structures that would have otherwise been impossible. But they didn't stop there. To lift even heavier loads, the Romans developed compound pulleys, which used multiple wheels and ropes to increase lifting power. This advanced system showed an impressive level of engineering skill, making construction faster and more efficient. In addition to pulleys, they also used pulley blocks, wooden or stone blocks containing multiple pulleys, to distribute weight more evenly. This helped workers move massive stone blocks and wooden beams with greater ease and control. The Romans also perfected winches for heavy lifting. Simple winches were used for smaller loads, while more powerful versions, like capstans, handled massive stones. Capstans were large, vertical winches, turned by workers pushing long wooden bars, providing the strength needed to lift even the heaviest materials. These innovations didn't just make construction easier, they helped shape the towering buildings and grand monuments that still stand today. Windlasses were another type of winch that was used by the Romans. These were horizontal winches with a crank handle, and were used to lift and move heavy loads like anchors or ships. The Romans' mastery of pulleys and winches wasn't just impressive, it was game-changing. These simple yet powerful tools helped shape an empire, and their influence can still be seen in modern construction. But here's the real question: where did they get these ideas? Did Roman engineers invent these ingenious contraptions on their own? Or did they borrow secrets from civilizations before them? The story begins in ancient Greece, where pulleys and winches were first used to construct massive ships and towering temples. But how did the Romans transform this technology into something even more advanced? And what about ancient Egypt? The Egyptians relied on pulleys and levers to move colossal stone blocks when building the pyramids. Could Roman builders have studied their methods and taken them a step further? Then there were the Etruscans, an ancient civilization in what is now Italy. They too used pulleys and winches in their construction, and Roman engineers may have learned directly from them. Roman engineers likely observed, experimented, and innovated, making significant improvements to existing pulley and winch technologies. They developed more efficient pulley systems and winches, which would go on to revolutionize Roman construction. And the result? Pulleys and winches became widely adopted in Roman construction projects, including the building of roads, bridges, aqueducts, and public buildings. It's amazing to think about how these ancient technologies helped shape the Roman Empire into what it was. So, how did the Romans build these ingenious devices? It all started with the materials they carefully selected. As skilled engineers, they understood how to combine different materials for maximum efficiency. For pulleys and winches, they used a mix of wood and metal. The main structures, wheels, axles, and frames, were made from strong, durable woods like oak or maple, which were readily available in ancient Italy. These woods provided the necessary strength while keeping the mechanisms lightweight and functional. To transfer force and lift heavy loads, The Romans relied on ropes and cables made from natural plant fibers such as hemp or flax. These materials were not only strong and flexible, but also resistant to wear and decay, making them perfect for long-term use in construction. But for heavy-duty applications, the Romans turned to metal components, such as iron or bronze. These metals were stronger and more durable than wood, making them perfect for constructing pulleys and winches that could handle massive loads. Archaeologists have discovered remains of pulleys and winches at Roman construction sites, such as the Colosseum and the Pantheon, which provide valuable insights into how these devices were constructed. Roman reliefs and mosaics also depict pulleys and winches being used in building construction, providing visual evidence of how these devices were used. It's amazing to think about how these ancient engineers were able to design and build such complex devices, using only the materials and technologies available to them. Now, let's uncover one of ancient Rome's most fascinating secrets: their ingenious use of animal-powered machinery. These animal-powered machines were a true game-changer in ancient construction. They allowed the Romans to lift and move heavy loads with greater ease and efficiency, which is pretty impressive considering they didn't have the luxury of modern machinery. The Romans used animals like oxen, donkeys, and even horses to power crane-like machines that lifted heavy loads, such as stone blocks and wooden beams. These animals were also used to power pulley systems that lifted or moved heavy loads horizontally or vertically. And if that's not impressive enough, they even used animals to power mill-like machines that cut and shaped stone or wood. It's astonishing to consider just how much backbreaking labor these animals helped eliminate. Imagine trying to lift and transport massive stone blocks with nothing but human strength. An almost unthinkable task. The construction of iconic buildings like the Colosseum and the Pantheon relied heavily on animal-powered machinery. And it's not like the Romans were the first to come up with this idea. They actually developed and refined existing technologies from other civilizations, like the ancient Egyptians and the Etruscans. The Egyptians, for example, used animal-powered machines like the shaduf to lift water for irrigation. And the Etruscans, who flourished in what is now modern-day Italy, used animal-powered machines in their construction projects. It's likely that the Romans learned from Etruscan engineers and adopted these technologies to create their own animal-powered machinery. Rome wasn't built in a day, but with water-powered machinery, it was built a whole lot faster. This takes us to the next tool these Romans had up their sleeves to build these enormous cities. In ancient Rome, water-powered machinery was another game-changer. It harnessed the power of water to perform tasks like cutting, grinding, and lifting, essential for building iconic structures like the Colosseum and the Pantheon. The Romans used water-powered sawmills to precision-cut stone blocks and water-powered cranes to lift massive loads into place. But water-powered machinery wasn't just about brute force. It also enabled the Romans to add those finer touches. They used it to grind and polish stone surfaces, creating smooth and even finishes that were the hallmark of Roman architecture. The impact on the Roman economy was significant. Automation reduced labor costs and increased productivity, making construction projects more efficient and cost-effective. It's no wonder Rome became the epicenter of architectural innovation. The Romans were construction pioneers. Their 2,000-year-old techniques still influence building today. Ramps, pulleys, and manual laborers, the basics remain the same. But let's be real, machines have made things easier. The Romans laid the foundation for modern construction. Their ingenuity paved the way for advanced technologies, and we're still benefiting today. In case you didn't know, the Roman Empire's impressive architectural achievements have stood the test of time, and a key factor in their success was their innovative approach to brickmaking. The Romans developed a sophisticated method of firing clay bricks, which replaced the earlier sun-dried mud bricks. Their bricks came in a variety of shapes and sizes, including square, rectangular, triangular, round, and even large ones exceeding 3 feet in length. The Romans refined their brick-making skills over time and used them to construct a wide range of buildings, from public monuments to private residences. As they expanded their empire, they shared their expertise with local populations, leaving a lasting legacy in the art of brickmaking. And oh, how about the masterpiece, which made all these amazing buildings possible? The Roman concrete. This game-changing material took over from bricks and became the go-to choice for building enormous structures that would stand the test of time. And the best part, the Romans made it themselves. Although the Mesopotamians had dabbled in concrete, Roman architects perfected the recipe, using it to build structures that could support massive weights. The first recorded use of Roman concrete was in the town of Cosa around 273 BC. So, what made Roman concrete so special? It was a clever mix of lime mortar, aggregate, pozzolana, water, and stones. This potent blend was stronger than any concrete that had come before. The ancient builders would pour the mixture into wooden frames where it would harden and bond with a facing of stones or bricks. The result was a robust wall with a rough surface, perfect for smoothing and facing with attractive stucco or marble panels. This innovative construction method was more flexible and cost-effective than traditional stone building. Plus, the materials were readily available and easy to transport. The Roman contribution to modern architecture is undeniable, and their concrete revolution paved the way for the towering skyscrapers and grand structures we marvel at today. You see, when we think of iconic Roman structures, the Colosseum and Pantheon usually come to mind, but there's more to Roman architecture than these two legendary landmarks. Let's talk about the Basilica, for instance. These large public buildings served as the heart of Roman civic life, hosting business transactions, court proceedings, and official ceremonies. Imagine a bustling town hall where citizens gathered to discuss the issues of the day. Then there's the Roman Circus, an open-air venue that hosted public events, from chariot racing to theatrical performances. These circuses were the ancient equivalent of modern stadiums, drawing in crowds from all walks of life. And have you ever heard of the Heraeum? These public warehouses were the ancient Romans' answer to modern-day storage facilities, but they weren't just used for storing grain. They also housed olive oil, wine, foodstuffs, clothing, and even marble. By the imperial period, Rome boasted an impressive 300 horae, supplying the city's demands. The largest of these warehouses, like the Horae Galbae, were truly massive, covering areas of over 225,000 square feet. Also, in ancient Rome, the gods were not to be trifled with. The Romans took their worship very seriously, and their temples reflect this devotion. With a number of gods and goddesses to honor, the Romans built an impressive array of temples, each one a testament to their spiritual beliefs. But these temples weren't just grand buildings. They served a specific purpose. They housed the statues of the gods and goddesses, along with sacred objects used in rituals. Public ceremonies, on the other hand, took place outdoors, within sacred vicinity. So what drove the Romans to build these magnificent structures? The answer lies in their deep spiritual beliefs. From Apollo, the god of archery, to Juno, the protector of the state, and Minerva, the goddess of wisdom, the Romans worshipped a diverse array of deities. Each temple was dedicated to a specific god or goddess, and the faithful would offer sacrifices and prayers within their walls. As we marvel at the ruins of these ancient temples, we can't help but wonder what inspired the Romans to create such masterpieces. Their architectural achievements continue to awe us today, a testament to their creativity and clever imagination. So, next time you admire a stunning building or use a power tool, remember the Roman innovators who made it all possible.